The scene starts with our main character, Emily, on the beach, getting approached by the love of her life, Shane. He proposes to her, but before she answers, she asks about the other woman he posts on social media. Despite his dismissive answer, she believes him and is still excited about the proposal. Well, it turns out this is just a dream. Emily snaps back to reality as her coworker talks to her, pointing out how overworked she is. This is why Emily is excited about her trip to Costa Rica. During this conversation, we see Emily has been stalking her ex, Shane. She's bitter about his posts showing he's in a new relationship. Her friend makes her feel better by pointing out her upcoming trip. This is when we find out that Emily is going to attend her friend's wedding, and she is in charge of keeping the wedding rings safe. They're heirlooms passed down through generations. She emphasizes how it's an honor to do her friends this favor, because they have been such good friends to her. Not even a minute later, she almost forgets to bring the rings as she heads out. Upon arriving in Costa Rica, Emily sends a voicemail to her friend, Phoebe, informing her that she has arrived. While waiting for the person who will pick her up, she stalks her ex on social media again. Moments later, Ryan arrives. She didn't expect him to be the one picking her up. Their interaction is a bit awkward, hinting that perhaps they have history together, but it's not clear at this point yet. It's a long drive, but the path is rife with great scenery. Upon arriving at the venue, Emily finds out it's the place she originally booked for the couple. Turns out Ryan changed it because the new place had a better deal. Emily doesn't say anything, but it's clear from her expression she dislikes this change. After getting settled, Emily heads to the beach, and there she meets the couple who are about to get married, Jamal and Phoebe. They ask if she has their rings, and she reassures them they have nothing to worry about. Later, Emily and Phoebe converse while sipping drinks, talking about Emily's broken heart. Phoebe insists that her stay in Costa Rica might be the thing she needs to finally move on. At one point, Phoebe brings up Ryan, asking Emily why she doesn't like him. Emily insists he doesn't dislike Ryan, opting to change the subject instead. The rest of the conversation is about the wedding preparations and how excited they are that it's being held there. Later that night, the besties prepare to sleep. However, instead of sleeping, Emily decides to doom scroll again, stalking her ex online. She just can't kick this habit. In the morning after waking up, the first thing Emily sees is a shirtless Ryan on his morning jog. Then, while preparing breakfast, Ryan continues talking to her topless, so she asks him to put a shirt on. Once again, she continues to be bitchy towards him, even if he's just trying to be accommodating towards her. Later, Phoebe's family arrives, and everyone enthusiastically greets one another. When Phoebe's mother finds out that Emily is in charge of keeping the wedding band safe, she makes a comment about how scatterbrained Emily can be. This comment proves true, as Phoebe discovers that the drink Emily placed on the table had pineapple in it, something she is allergic to. Fortunately, her allergic reaction is quickly put to a halt after Emily brings her first aid kit. After that, Emily talks about their plan to ride on scooters. Despite everyone arguing that it might not be a good idea because of the weather and terrain, Emily insists it will be fine. You can guess what happens next. The ladies end up struggling to use scooters on sandy roads. Thankfully, Ryan and the other men come to their rescue. Once again, we see an interaction where Ryan tries to be helpful, but Emily outright refuses his help for no reason. The group eventually all get in the truck and head to their destination. Once there, Ryan suddenly suggests the group should explore the place. However, Emily insists that they have a wedding schedule to stick to. Unfortunately, the group takes Ryan's side, opting to go on a spontaneous adventure instead. Now it becomes clearer why Emily sees Ryan as a thorn in her side. Later, Ryan takes the group to a more secluded location away from the public. Emily reluctantly follows along because the rest of the group is on his side once more. Later, when Emily hangs her bag on a tree branch, a troop of monkeys grabs her bag, and everyone just stands there watching. Emily is feeling anxious because her phone is in one of those bags. Jamal comments that perhaps she didn't need her phone anyway, because it's been causing her stress. After Phoebe gives Emily some reassuring words to make her feel better, Emily realizes something that causes her heart to sink. The wedding bands are in one of her stolen bags. She runs to the couple, and without revealing the truth, she tells them she needs her bags back. Luckily, Ryan is part of their group chat where they can track each other's phone. Don't ask me how this works. Anyway, Ryan ends up going with Emily to the forest in search of the monkey thieves. Emily immediately encounters a dangerous viper, so Ryan helps her back away from it. When he asks why she's so hell-bent on getting her bag, she just tells him her speech is on her phone. She even goes on to describe how important her friendship is with Phoebe, so she can't mess up, and somehow this gets Ryan to stop asking more questions. The two end up going to Ryan's friend, Esteban, someone who might be able to help them track the monkeys. When they get to said person's place, he's not around, so Ryan and Emily get on a boat to head towards where this person is at. They even see some crocodiles along the way. When they finally meet Esteban, he informs them that it's going to be hard to find those white face monkeys, given the vast territory they cover. Still, Ryan is optimistic and insists they try anyway. Using Ryan's phone, Emily then calls her friend, Tyesha, telling her the truth. She wants Tyesha to stall until she and Ryan can find the wedding bands. At the restaurant, Tyesha comes up with an excuse, so everyone proceeds to order lunch, no longer waiting for Emily and Ryan. Then, in true Emily fashion, she accidentally drops Ryan's phone into the water. Armed with a map marked by Esteban, Emily and Ryan continue their search in another forest. After hours of roaming around, Emily gets lucky and finds her first aid kit, but she still needs her other bags. As expected, the two get into a small argument about what to do next. Ryan is erring on the side of safety since it will be dark soon, but Emily is dedicated to finding the monkeys. Ryan ends up following her as she chases one of the monkeys that just passed by. At one point, they spot a monkey holding a blue item, high up a tree. Emily wants Ryan to climb up, but since he has a fear of heights, they decide to use a banana to lure the monkey down instead. The monkeys end up outsmarting them. While Emily is distracted, one monkey sneaks up below her and grabs the map from her. Fortunately, when the monkeys scatter, they at least leave the blue bag behind. Meanwhile, the couple and their family are back at their accommodation, wondering how Emily and Ryan are doing. Back to the duo, Emily ends up climbing to grab the blue item, which is actually her swimsuit, not a bag. This triggers her, and she starts an argument with Ryan, accusing him of sabotaging her every move. Naturally, he defends himself, pointing out that it's Emily's fault they are in that mess. Fed up, Ryan attempts to walk away, calling off the search. To make things worse, he finds out what happened to his phone while rain pours on them. This sends him over the edge, so he starts shouting at Emily, blaming her once again for their dire situation. Of course, Emily shouts back in anger and proceeds to go her own way, despite how dangerous it is to walk alone. In a brief scene, back at the hotel, we see Phoebe and Tyesha talking about Emily, concerned about her well-being. Meanwhile, back in the forest, Emily continues to walk aimlessly in the pouring rain while Ryan follows her. All of a sudden, Ryan falls down a cliff, and Emily does too when she tries to look for him. Ryan has a scratch on his leg, so Emily treats him. This is when they come to their senses and reconcile. The hostility dissipates from the atmosphere. Later that night, when the rain stops, the two decide to camp unusually. Since they don't have a tent, Ryan sets up a hammock for Emily to sleep in. Emily suggests they share the hammock, citing it's her duty as a nurse to not let her patients sleep on the floor. And so, they do just that and gaze at the stars. While Ryan talks about the wonderful feeling Costa Rica brings people, Emily finally tells him the truth about her missing bag. She admits feeling stupid for losing such important items. Ryan offers some words of reassurance, pointing out how Emily is also a great friend to Jamal and Phoebe, adding how she'd go to great lengths just for them. Fast forward to the next morning. After Emily gets woken up by a tarantula, she joins Ryan by the river. She checks if he's feeling better and ready to head back. He is, but Ryan also insists that they continue looking for her bag. Back at the hotel, the groom and bride's dads are mapping out the area so they can search for Ryan and Emily. Tyesha tries to stop them from going on a search by making up another lie regarding what the duo is actually doing. Despite her efforts, the dads remain determined to go on a rescue mission. Meanwhile, Emily and Ryan are almost back to civilization. However, they face an obstacle. Ryan refuses to use the long bridge because of his fear of heights. Fortunately, he eventually agrees to walk on the bridge after Emily apologizes for dragging him into this mess. Back at the place where Ryan left his truck, Jamal and the dads are investigating the scene. They realize that Ryan and Emily are lost in the forest. They also speculate what the two could be possibly doing, aside from being lost in the jungle. Back to the duo, Ryan is barely hanging on. Emily grabs his hand to reassure him that everything will be fine, as long as he doesn't look down. A brief scene shows the ladies discussing their missing friend while painting. Phoebe's mom is being her negative self as always, but Phoebe doesn't let her mom's words weigh her down. She believes Emily will show up when she needs to. Later, Emily and Ryan make their way out of the forest when they stumble upon some bags and their map, which were stolen earlier. Realizing this might be the place the monkeys keep their loot, they search around in hopes of seeing Emily's bag. They stumble upon Emily's phone strap stuck in a pool of mud. As expected of Emily, she falls into the pit when she tries to grab it with a stick. She also pulls Ryan in the same spot when he tries to help her. After digging through the mud, they discover that it's just a fanny pack, not Emily's phone. They end up laughing together at the ridiculous situation they are in. Later, the two stumble upon a beautiful waterfall and decide to go for a dip since they need to get clean anyway. After getting out of the water, Emily and Ryan engage in a conversation riddled with surprising revelations. To sum it all up, it turns out that Emily thought Ryan disliked her because of how he behaved in the past. However, in reality, Ryan actually liked her, but avoided her and her ex because he thought Shane was not right for her. At this point, Emily's feeling towards Ryan is now the exact opposite of how she felt at the start of this trip. In the next scene at the wedding venue, Phoebe is feeling anxious because the people she's waiting for are late. Even the wedding officiant is not there yet. Jamal finally arrives, and he tries his best to calm Phoebe down as she starts to cry. Jamal's smooth words calm his bride-to-be's anxious mind. Back to the main duo, they finally arrive at a camp owned by Camille, Ryan's friend. She's very accommodating and offers to help them communicate with their friends. However, it's clear Emily seems to be feeling uneasy with how close Ryan seems to this woman. Emily and Ryan get changed into cleaner clothes and they meet on the balcony. Emily brings up Ryan and Camille's closeness, so he subtly eliminates her worries by mentioning that Camille has a girlfriend. The conversation gets serious when Ryan asks Emily if she's open to the idea of getting into a new relationship. She admits that before arriving in Costa Rica, all she could think about was her ex coming back to her, but things are different now. When she mentions how she got tired of waiting for her ex to choose her, Ryan delivers the perfect response. He says he will choose her, always. This earns him a kiss from Emily just before they call it a night. The next morning, Jamal informs Phoebe about the email Ryan sent. They finally understand why the two have not returned yet. However, it looks like there's a change of plans regarding the wedding, and they plan to reveal this to Emily in person. Speaking of Emily, she finally wakes up and awkwardly interacts with Ryan. They're finally able to head back to reunite with their friends. Later, Emily finally meets Phoebe, who is glad that she's safe. This is when Emily tells her the truth about missing wedding bands. To make things worse, Phoebe reveals that the wedding is canceled because she booked the wedding officiants on the wrong date. So the wedding ceremony will be at the country club, which is what Phoebe's mother wanted in the first place. However, the shocking revelations don't stop there. It turns out Shane had reached out to Phoebe. He wants to reconnect with Emily, to try again. In the next scene, during Ryan and Jamal's conversation, Ryan finds out about Shane's email. Of course, Ryan doesn't feel good about this turn of events, but he tries his best to hide his dismay. Emily calls her work friend, Bonnie, and tells her a recap of everything that happened so far. Bonnie even encourages Emily to stay in Costa Rica for longer. After the call, Esteban arrives. Turns out he went on an excursion and found Emily's bag with the wedding bands still there. With renewed motivation, she immediately starts planning so the wedding can continue. Emily interrupts Phoebe and her mom to inform them that she will make the wedding happen that day. She even gives Phoebe a flower crown and shows her the wedding bands. Despite the mom's protest, Emily manages to turn things around. She heads to where Jamal and Ryan are, informing the groom to get ready as soon as possible. Then, Emily talks to Ryan, who is obviously still feeling down despite the positive turn of events. However, when Emily clarifies that she is not getting back with Shane, all of the negativity leaves his body. Now nothing but excitement and desire remains. The next scene takes place at the same waterfalls that Ryan and Emily discovered the other day. Before the wedding ceremony, they make sure to sneak in some time for themselves, flirting and kissing. They even get spotted kissing by Jamal and Phoebe, who are waiting at the top of the waterfalls. After the main characters kiss, the wedding begins, with Emily officiating the ceremony. Turns out she got her license online. Anyway, the movie ends with Phoebe and Jamal finally getting married as Emily delivers a speech about slowing down and appreciating the moment.